Hello, I'm here today with Helen Sanderson, who is the Clutter Therapist, and we're going to draw your business, what you're doing for people and the clutter. Welcome.
Thank you. Great. I'm really excited to be here and particularly excited because when we chatted before, you said you use images to help people think, and that's definitely going to be what I need.
Start with a little portrait.
That looks like me.
Yeah. And you are the Clutter Therapist. Okay, and now tell me what you're doing for your clients. Who is it you're working with? Maybe give me an example.
A woman who's near retirement and she's an empty nester. Her children have left home and she's thinking about the next stage of her life, and she's realizing that she's accumulated over her work and family life rather a lot of stuff that she hasn't really had time to deal with, and she's wanting to downsize and simplify her life. She doesn't want to leave a lot of mess for her kids to work to clear up, so she's thinking very consciously about the future and not just herself, but her family. And so she's wanting to simplify, really, but she's feeling very overwhelmed. She doesn't know where to start.
So she has,
Too much stuff. Yeah.
for example,
She's got too many clothes. She's got too many books. She's got paperwork everywhere. She
so
does this.
that's yeah. So I draw bookshelves.
Yeah. She does this thing where she shoves things in nice, pretty boxes when people come around. But actually, that's what she used to do. But now she doesn't let people in
Oh,
because
really? So bad.
she's embarrassed. She feels ashamed.
So maybe I just draw a little clutter here.
Mm, yeah, some boxes or something. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty boxes.
But there's usually quite a few of them, yes. And they're not pretty anymore because there's too many of them.
Oh, maybe she should look a little unhappier than me.
Yeah, yeah. A bit shocked at the prospect.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe even how did that happen?
Yeah. And life is busy and full, and that's how it happened.
So she is still active in her life.
Yeah, she's still active. She's still very engaged. In fact, she goes out more than she stays in because she doesn't really like the state of the house. And there's usually a pile of clothes somewhere as well. We talk about the floor being the floordrobe rather than the wardrobe.
Oh, really? So bad. Okay, then let's draw the floor. Maybe she's like really drowning in
Yeah, yeah. And if she isn't actually literally drowning, she feels psychologically like she's drowning.
Mhm.
So it's a kind of metaphor. You could have a bag, many bags.
Bags, yes.
Anyway, we could be hours with the clutter, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that she's got a PhD in and it's a PhD in projects half done.
Yeah.
So you just put PhD on there because she's quite intelligent and creative. So
That's nice. And so she feels, when is it she is coming to you? When it really gets too bad, or
yeah, it's just maybe somebody close by has died. She started to realize that no one's coming to sort this out unless she does something about it. She needs to move, something needs to change, and life is starting to put pressure on her to make a change. Maybe she's got a retirement date or redundancy or something.
and the feelings are
Overwhelm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Overwhelm, and also shame. She feels ashamed.
Oh,
She doesn't understand why she can't. She had a professional career.
yeah,
Why can't she sort this out?
overwhelm, shame, and helpless maybe also. Can you tell me, how did it happen? How can intelligent people like this end up in a situation where they can't help themselves?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. She's got ADHD, so she finds it really difficult to process things and to plan. She's got time blindness, and she's a late diagnosed ADHD, so she didn't know this, but she's starting to realize that the ADHD is part of the reason why she's got in this muddle and part of the reason why she can't get out of it. And another thing that happened is that she had a bereavement. She lost her husband. So life just became a little bit too much to bear. So she went into survival mode. And because she was in survival mode, she didn't really have time to sort out, to do a declutter, really.
And I can imagine that she thinks it's her fault. We didn't hear about ADHD before.
No,
This is a newish
exactly.
thing for
Yeah.
people
So it
like
would have been a bit like in the 1950s when if you weren't very good at reading, you were considered stupid. But actually then they realized that people suffered from dyslexia. So it's a similar thing that's happening at the moment. There's a huge awakening and realization that some of these processing of tasks, which is starting something and following it through to completion, is very challenging for somebody who has an ADHD type brain.
Yeah.
And that's all of the tasks that are required within the home and doing chores or doing life laundry or decluttering. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what is she dreaming about when she hires you? So let's just put her over there.
Yeah.
Or let's put the whole thing over there and then clean it up.
Okay.
So all this needs to be more orderly.
Yeah.
Overwhelm has to go.
Yeah.
This, yeah, we just, what is she dreaming about?
She is dreaming about a home that has systems that are easy to maintain. Everything has a place. There's a place for everything. She's got a sense of calm and ease and mental clarity. So she's actually, instead of thinking about the house all the time, she's using her energy to start thinking about her future and creative projects that she might like to do. She actually wants to write a book or start painting or something. So she's actually starting to think about investing her energy in the future rather than worrying about the current situation, which has really been weighing her down.
Should we draw her doing something else but decluttering?
Yeah, maybe she could be playing an instrument, she could be dancing, she could be painting, anything, something creative that she's wanted to do and that she hasn't allowed herself to do because she's felt so burdened.
Let's write a creative project.
Yeah.
And so this is what she always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she has energy. And maybe, and now, of course, her desk is beautiful and clean.
Exactly. So she doesn't think about the house anymore because the house is easier to maintain. It's easier to sort out because there are systems and a sense of order. You could have a minimal bookshelf with a few books rather than piles of books.
Mhm.
And maybe on the bookshelf there's some nice decor rather than just a density of books.
Maybe some pretty boxes. Easy to maintain systems.
Yeah. And which leaves her with mental clarity. So she's now got space to think.
Mental clarity. Maybe we don't, I don't want to confine her. Space to think, mental clarity. And all her stuff is maybe in this shelf.
Yeah, it's nice and clear. I would say clear and calm.
Well, clear and calm is maybe better than nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
She's also inspired because she's overcome this huge obstacle that she didn't think she could. So she's feeling much more positive about herself and she's getting lots of inspiration for her book. Yeah, she's generally can't believe the transformation that she's gone through.
Would you say, do you have an idea how to say that, like in a sentence, from overwhelmed to clutterhead, or do you use words like that? Maybe not.
One of the things that I say in my strapline is transforming spaces, transforming lives. Because I like the sort of parallel between when you transform your space, you then facilitate the transformation in your life. We also used to use creating calm from clutter. That was one of our phrases.
Yeah. That here we are already in the transformation.
Yeah. So what was the question? Say it again.
I just thought maybe you have a word to a headline for these states. This is the clutter state, that's obvious.
Mhm.
And this is the, oops, this is the calm state.
Mhm. And so the middle bit is the process, yeah?
Yes.
And the process is, it's a transformational process. It's an intensive, ask me again what you need to know.
Yeah. Do you have a name for it, for the process? You said clear from transforming lives?
Transforming spaces, transforming lives. We have the getting clear method.
Oh, yeah, let's call it that.
Yeah.
Getting clear method.
Mhm.
And this transforming spaces, this is what you're promising.
Yeah, yeah. In the process of transforming a space, you're also transforming your life. And I've witnessed that and been privileged to go on that journey with many people over the years. So
Hmm.
I can definitely vouch for it being true.
Hmm. And what is the first step that you're doing?
How do we do this? So there are three parts to the declutter process.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is weeding. So I use a metaphor of a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And the weeding process is when you're looking for things that can go out. It's the letting go process. So what's a weed? What's a plant? What's the superfluous, extraneous stuff? And what is a special memory or something that's functional or beautiful?
So they're in the middle and sorting their stuff.
Yeah, it's the decision-making stage. So essentially keep or donate or keep or bin or keep or recycle. And
Yeah, as a simplified.
yeah, keep go. That's where we use my home declutter kit in the weeding process, which
Mm-hmm.
I showed you last time.
Yeah, with the signs.
Yeah.
How long does it take?
It depends where you're starting from,
Yeah.
how long does it take to lose weight, and how
Yeah,
often.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
My method is usually an intensive one. So I believe that the quicker you do it, the more likely you are to stay motivated to complete it. If you let it go on too long, it can be demoralizing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mhm.
So what is the next step?
Next step is the planting stage. And this is where you take everything that you keep and you find a place or home for it. So it could be when we talk about garden design, where we have our planting plan, exactly where are things going to live. So this is where everything has a place. There's a place for everything. And if you ask somebody, where are the scissors? They know exactly where they live. They know exactly where to put them back.
Hmm.
And it helps for a much better peace of mind if everything has a place.
I'm learning so much here.
But the important thing is that this is a sequential process, so you don't do the planting until you've done the weeding.
Okay, so I don't decide where things go before I have decluttered everything.
Yeah, you do it room by room or wardrobe by wardrobe or area by area, but generally the reason is because quite often people would have, they might have stationery in the kitchen, stationery in the bedroom, stationery in the office, stationery in the living room. And if you don't bring it all together, it's much harder to actually see what you've got.
So are
So
you going through topics or through rooms?
through rooms, but then things would be categorized together. So you might do all the books together or all the paperwork together, or you might then reconcile all the stationery in one place and then look at it all together.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
But generally, if you're doing a kitchen, most of the kitchen things are going to be in the kitchen, aren't they? Then they're not.
Yeah, I just thought if the stationery is also in the kitchen.
I would bring it all together into one group and look at it as one job lot,
Mm-hmm.
and then just have one or minimum two places for it. So
Yeah.
this is what we would do in the planting plan is really, and then it also it depends. It's not about me imposing my ideal on somebody. If they're a family and they need things in different places, then we might do a review and then have a planting plan that says, right, the kids need to have pens in their room and we need to have it in my office. So, we need to have a few in the kitchen, but it's really about first you do the weeding, which is the mindful processing of the stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then you decide what's the best planting plan.
Yeah. Okay. And the third?
The third is maintaining the maintenance. Because every garden, once you've weeded it, if you don't keep weeding it, it's going to grow back to a big pile of chaos. It's really critical that you get a really good planting plan and then you have a system that helps you maintain it. And sometimes we have what we call a house charter, which is where you might set some rules for yourself or a contract with yourself. Like when I come back from holiday, I empty my suitcase within 2 days or something like that, because it's very likely that somebody, especially if they've got ADHD, will be running on to the next thing
Mm-hmm.
and forgetting about unpacking the suitcase. And then it will just sit around for days, and it can often it just starts creating a visual clutter, which then feeds into a habit of more clutter. So maintenance is really about habit building. I make my bed when I get up in the morning, or I do the washing up before I go to bed. So it's having good, healthy self-care habits. So these aren't like chores that kids don't want to do. These are things that we do for ourselves that we want to make our
Mm-hmm.
life more wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So maintenance is really about self-care. In fact, the whole thing's about self-care, but I really do think of it as a sort of a daily self-care thing.
Mm-hmm. Self-care. Is that kind of the breakthrough feeling? What do they experience when they went through the process? Is there like a light bulb moment they have?
A light bulb moment. I think I would say like someone who just lifted a great burden off there and being able to see the wood from the trees.
When does that happen? Does it happen in the weeding process or?
No, after the planting. When they've done the weeding and everything's been planted and it's like, oh gosh, everything does actually fit and I can find things and there is a place for everything. Now I can maintain it. Thank goodness it's a sense of relief, a sense of ease, a sense of openness, and being able to invite people in and be more sociable. Just generally a huge burden that has been let go of.
Maybe this invite people over.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should put that
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
It seems to be a big deal.
yeah,
Because I think she's also lonely on the left side.
yeah, exactly. And if you're writing a book and you've got stuff going on, you've got things to talk about, you're interested in your life, rather than a sense of feeling ashamed and that you're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sense of this first one, it's quite dark, it's quite claustrophobic, it's quite sort of insular and lonely. I don't know if there's a way of making that look a bit darker or
Oh,
yeah,
there is.
yeah.
This is. But before with and yeah, and here it's just a few shadows and the whole thing is open.
And much more sunlight, because often people say, I want to see the light, the sunlight coming in, and
Let's draw a window.
yeah, that's nice.
Maybe we have to put a little more clutter on this side also.
Yes.
It's probably much worse. It just takes such a long
Yeah.
time to.
You could maybe flip the boxes over on the other side, because there is generally a feeling of being very crowded and suffocating. And you can see that even what you've drawn is overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course this could also be a little more orderly. Are they sometimes rushing and not taking time to do things properly? Or is that not so much?
In in the first instance,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Often people will tell me that they've tried to declutter, but they start and they get everything out and then they don't finish. So one of my mantras is complete. So when you get to the maintenance phase, it's really important to complete things. And we talk about that in my Clutter Shift program, where I teach people about the Getting Clear method.
Mhm. Clutter shift program. Would that be a better thing to write here?
From where, rather than Getting Clear method,
Yes.
well, I use
The
the
getting
getting,
clear method is something that you're always using.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
And then I teach that in the Clutter
I
Shift.
see. I see. And why are you the right one to help them with that? What is your background?
My background is interior design, so
Ah,
I have a good eye for space and how to make the best use of space. So one of the bits that I love about my work is helping people revision their space once it's been decluttered.
so did you work as an interior
Yeah,
designer?
yeah. I also am a trained psychotherapist, so I understand a lot of the feelings of shame and overwhelm and some of when we talked about life survival mode, sometimes people have been through some really traumatic things. So someone I was talking to yesterday was saying, well, thank goodness somebody is acknowledging trauma.
Yeah.
So psychotherapy, it gives me that insight into a deeper layer of what's really going on, because ultimately it's not really about the stuff, it's about the person. And then I've been a professional organizer for nearly 20 years. So I've spoken to hundreds of people and have been in hundreds of houses, and I've perfected my Getting Clear method down into two programs. One is an online program, and one is a one-to-one intensive retreat. So we get results fast, because that's ultimately what people need, to see that they can do that, make that bridge from exactly what you've shown, from clutter to calm.
Yeah. How did you make the jump from interior designer to the clutter therapist?
Because at the time when I was working as an interior designer, there was a financial crash, and it wasn't really taking off. I'd done a few projects, and so I was running my professional organizing business parallel on the side. And that there just seemed more need and more demand. And actually I realized that I like working with people on that deeper level. The interior design is lovely, the beauty side of it, but actually when you get into somebody's life and their trauma, and in a way that's why I called myself the clutter therapist, because ultimately people tell you their life story when you declutter their home, because their home is their life story. That makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe we can also put that here somewhere, life story.
Yeah.
Isn't that also important?
Yeah. And I'm also the author of The Secret Life of Clutter, which is essentially saying, my message in the book is that your home tells your story of your life. And in the same way that you might go to a psychotherapist to try and understand something about yourself, you might go to the clutter therapist to try and understand something about your home.
Yeah.
So that you can actually make a shift.
Yeah.
Can we put author in that list as well?
Oh, yeah. It would be even nice to have the books somewhere here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your name doesn't need to be so big.
The image that the book has on it is of a key. The key to decluttering, the key to your story, the key to your future. So I like that. That's it. Yeah. No, I love it. I'm going to be curious to know what my clients think. I'm so impressed by how you've captured that. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.